We're continuing to follow breaking news out of Franklin County, where a two-alarm fire tore through a home yesterday afternoon.
And this morning we have learned that fire was fatal. Western Mass News reporter Libby James joins us live in studio with details and an update. Libby?
Amanda and David, fire crews were on scene on Bridge Street for nearly 12 hours putting out the fire, which claimed the life of a 66-year-old woman. The identity of the victim has not been released, but that fire was first reported around 4:45 p.m. We're told crews didn't clear the scene until 3 o'clock this morning. Mutual aid was called in from multiple fire departments, including crews from Orange and Greenfields. And here in these photos, you can see the flames completely engulfing a home. Western Mass News spoke with neighbors on the scene who shared what they saw when the fire broke out.
Just heard all the sirens come down the road. There's quite a lot of them. And then I walked down and saw the fire, and they had it handled pretty quickly.
Officials say while one person died in the fire, the rest of the residents in the building safely escaped. And the cause of the fire is still under investigation, and an update on the situation is expected to be released later today. Coming up in the next half hour, I'll have more from neighbors who witnessed this tragedy. For now, reporting live in studio, Libby James for Western Mass News.